Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Speak to Transform. And I'm your host, Lisa Vanequek. And I have with me a very special guest and friend, Despina Constantinou. I went back to my old thing. Constantinou. Despina, I am so excited to have you here and to share the story, the journey that you have been on, and all that has happened. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too, Lisa. Nice to be with everybody.
You are welcome. So before we get started, give us a little background of who is Despina? Like what is your nationality? Where I had to ask you, teach me how to say your last name. By the way, I have to teach other people how to say my last name too. So Constantinou, what nationality is that?
It's Greek. I am from Cyprus originally. I currently live in the UK, and I've moved about a bit. And everywhere is a new place, new people, new everything. So it's amazing. I'm an engineer, and I gradually moved into leadership positions, and I was looking for something that would help me with that. And that's how I found this place.
Yes, yes. And you and I met online. I'm so thankful for the internet for that, for you and I met online. And I invited you at that time actually into a community of women and that were kingdom minded. And you came into that community and were kind of, lurking around the background in that way. And then I invited you into one of our premier programs called the Radiant Leadership Academy. And I reached out to you and initially, can you tell us what your initial response was when I told you what this program was? Do you remember?
I don't have time for this.
But there was something else going on in your mind.
I was in I was in particular circumstances at the time, and I was trying to do some other stuff as well, and I couldn't really keep up with that because other things were taking away my attention. And then when you mentioned it, I was thinking, I know this is for me, because that wasn't the first time I heard about it, right? And I knew there was a pull for me to be there. But because of everything that was going on, I was like, I can't add this on top. I didn't have the capacity. But my reasoning for not having the time, and what my main aim was at the time, because of those circumstances, was the very reason I should be on it. And I'm so glad you said, then this is it. And I thought, okay, if this is it, then maybe that is what I should be doing. And it just changed everything.
Wow.
Everything. And I mean every single thing. The way I treat my house, even. So it's an amazing experience. It's an amazing program. Mm-hmm. It came at the most appropriate time in my life, even though I still say maybe I should have done it the first time I heard about it. Can't change that. And everything around me is so different, and everything inside me is so different, in a way that I could never get there with anything else that I tried before.
Wow. Wow, that's so powerful. So, can you paint a bit of a picture, if you will, in terms of you were to describe yourself when you first adventured onto this experience in terms of this Radiant Leadership Academy, which is a 16-week, really, it's a deep dive discipleship and intimacy with the Lord. But for those who are listening, you're not really familiar with it. It is the opportunity for you to become who God has called you to be. And so we call it leadership from the inside out. And I know that since then, Despina, you have gone through it multiple times, and then you're 3 times, and now you're on number 2, and you're going to number second,
Number,
like part 2. Are you taking part 2?
yes, part 2. Yes, sorry, I didn't get that. What you meant? Yes.
That's okay. So you've gone through it 3 times, the Radiant Leadership Academy, and now you're on the next level, RLA2, but also going further. And I personally have seen a transformation, even in your countenance, everything, and many people have seen that. But I would love it if you would paint a picture of, maybe as much as you want to, of what was maybe what you were feeling, how you were showing up when you first came, to after that first round, and even today. What would be some of the concrete differences that you have found?
I didn't have joy.
Right.
And what I mean by that, I was at the very bottom of the very bottom, and I couldn't find a way out of there. It was like hitting a plateau. Whatever I was doing, I was still at the same place. Nothing could move me out of that. Anything I tried, I felt stuck, and I was looking for a change for years by that point. But in those years, I was sort of going lower, and I felt I was going lower and lower instead of higher and higher. And it was as everything was being depleted out of me. And when I joined, it was the leadership side that drew me to it. I wasn't that particular with religion or God, even though that was what I was looking for. But because of my upbringing, I had too many issues with that, and I was trying to get to a place where it became a healthy thing. So now, well, after the first time, it was like everything collapsed in terms of what I thought was true and wasn't. What conflicting stuff I had going on that just kept me stuck. Things about what's going on in the world, what's going on with me, and everything in between, really. And after that first round, it was like everything was cleaned up.
Wow.
And I went into the second round, and I realized that's why people do this again and again and again.
Exactly. Before we go any further, I just want to backtrack. When you said the word everything collapsed, that things that you thought were one way were not that way. Are you referring to specifically in terms of the faith, in terms of, can you give a little bit more distinctives of what you mean by that, or examples maybe?
Yes. So I'm female, if you can tell, but I'm also an engineer. So I grew up being able to work better with guys than girls. And that meant I could never have. They were girls that would come to me and say, "We don't want you. You're not like us." I mean, that's
Mm.
how
Wow.
different it was for me, and I could never really relate to girls that easily. Only with people I knew from like primary school, and we kept that friendship going. But even then, it wasn't as close as any other standard,
Mhm.
female friendship. So I always had that. And then when I was progressing in my career and leading people and taking charge of projects and teams and things like that, then it was another conflict, because I was like, I don't think women are meant to be doing this thing. And it was all the things that I grew up with being
Mm.
told to me.
Wow.
And going through this course, it sort of broke everything down, and like a building. So as I was growing up, it was like a tall building was also being constructed at the same time, with everything that I was accumulating as I was growing up.
Wow.
And then it was like somebody went in with all the dynamite in the right places and blew the thing up and then cleaned the site.
Wow. Wow. So, I mean, to some people listening, that could sound like, oh my goodness, that could be traumatizing.
Oh, it's the most liberating thing you can ever imagine. The traumatizing thing is what you have been accumulating.
Wow. Wow. What a great word picture. Wow. And then clean up the site. And then from there, what's going to
Then
happen?
from
You went
there,
into round 2.
yes, because I was like, well, I've got a clean site. Why do we clean the site? Because we're going to build something new.
Wow.
So I started that with that aim, and I came out the other end and I was thinking, God, what has just happened? What has just happened? And I felt like I was still in the process of preparing the site for what is to come. So now I'm on the third round, right? And I'm nearly to the end. But it looks, it's always been, I need to hit the end of the program before I can say this is what it was for, this is what happened, this was the impact. So I'm waiting for that, because it's another few weeks going. But it's an amazing experience for anybody who is looking for more and can't seem to be getting there.
That's so good. Or maybe even can't even identify what they even need to get, like, sometimes you're in that
Yes,
space, right? You're in that space, you need more, but you don't know exactly what you need even to get there, or to get out of where you are. Would you say that's true for where you
yes,
were?
yes.
Mhm.
I was looking for what I needed to do for a very long time, and nothing was working. I was trying things, and when I saw this, I was like, is this really for me? Because I was very drawn to it. But I had tried so many things by that point, and I spent so much money that I was like, is this something I should be doing?
Wow.
Because I grew tired a bit of trying all these things and putting in the effort and doing the investment, and then feeling like, I'm not really sure, you know.
Yeah, I think there's people listening today that could probably relate to what you're saying. I know that, I've done a lot of things over the years as well, and not everything is created equal. Not everything delivers or gives you the results. And that's what I love about the Radiant Leadership Academy, because it is a deep dive into one, intimacy with the Lord in terms of helping us to understand how he created us, who he is, but also helping us to become very aware of the things that where we're not living in true alignment with how God made us and the calling on our life. And so it really kind of takes away the blinders and opens up the windows and say, hey, this is who you are meant to be. And it shows you, okay, these are some steps to help you begin to live true to who you are called to be and designed to be. And that is
Absolutely.
freedom, and that is freedom,
That is
absolutely.
freedom.
It's so good. So what would you say would be, well, actually, before we go there, can you talked about how, internally and all these things, how did that show up for you in other areas of your life? Whether it be at work, because you talked about you were stepping into leadership roles as a parent.
Mm.
Were there things that either other people saw different or you found yourself showing up differently in those different areas?
I've got the answer to that. I can take up anything. So I get into rooms that are more and more different, with people in positions that are higher and higher. And I have had conversations about stuff that didn't go well, and I had to explain what was going on, what is my stance, and why I'm not going to do whatever they want to happen. And there was a particular situation that I sort of knew this was coming, and I thought, whatever happens, I'm gonna stand my ground. And it was like I was finding everything I needed to say. I was able to have the body language I needed to have. It was amazing. And that didn't happen by accident. I mean, that was all the work that I was doing as part of this program. And that was what I noticed, because I think I wouldn't necessarily have handled it as well in any other time before that. I think with the people in my team, I feel I'm more able to give them what they need and support them in the way that they need to be supported, which probably wasn't as efficient before. I think I changed how I listened to them and how I come across and how I promote them as well, to outside the team. At home, it's a whole different conversation, because I was trying to figure out how to perform in my role in the home, and I came into realization of what that is, and I'm getting myself into it. It's everywhere. It's one course. It's this program, and it addresses everything somebody needs.
Wow. So good. Sorry, I had to switch up my camera there. My camera went dead. Didn't mean to abandon you, but that is so powerful. I love how you talked about how able to communicate more effectively with confidence and just kind of taking your place at the table, really. And that's one of the things that we say here, there's room at the table for everyone. And sometimes we might feel excluded because either we feel like maybe we're in competition, but there's no competition in the kingdom, and each person has a voice, and each person has something to contribute. And I just want to say, Despina, I've enjoyed watching the journey over the last bit that I've known you. How long has it been? Has it been a year and a half?
Maybe,
Maybe almost.
maybe.
I think it's probably about a year. And I have just loved seeing the journey of transformation. And I know at some point you're going to show some photos to verify that whole change in even in your countenance. But I just want to say that I'm so proud of you, and thank you for saying yes to yourself, really, to saying yes to investing in your own personal growth and allowing and making space for God to really meet you there.
I did say I didn't have time, right? So I really didn't have time. But what I will say is this: we never have time unless we decide we're putting the time into something. I mean, nobody has the time to go to work, right? If you're keeping a home at the same time, you really know that the two, I mean, they are a 24-hour thing that goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's where we put the time. So, and for me, that was the best investment I could make, especially at that time.
Wow. Wow. Well, if you are listening today and something resonated with you from Despina's story, or you're curious as to what is this program you're talking about, it is a 16-week Radiant Leadership Program helping you become the leader from the inside out so that you can show up as God designed you to in every area of your life. And it is community-based. It's also very, very transformational and integration. And if you feel like you know that you are made for more, but you don't know what that is or how to get there, then we want to invite you. This is going to be perfect for some of you. And if this is resonating, even if you've got a small tug, we invite you to put RLA wherever you're watching this recording, this video, and we will follow up with you to give you the information. And we will say there's a new cohort starting next week. So if you want to jump in, we would gladly walk with you in this journey and explore whether or not this might be the exact thing you've been looking for, whether it be the actual program itself or just the community or all that is offered here at Kingdom Alliance. So we just want to say that we are here. There's no pressure, but if it is for you, we want to help you get started and embark on the adventure of your life to become who God has called you to be. So Despina, as we close out here today, is there any last words that you want to leave with our listeners?
The change shows up everywhere, and you become somebody who can help others come along in that journey that brings them to the light and to freedom. And it is so liberating from everything that came with our past and anything that may still be going around us. And I think this program gives you all the tools that you need to get to a place of exponential growth within you. And from within, it radiates out in everything that you get to do.
So good. So good. We are on a journey to help women and men become fully functioning how God designed you to be. And each one has a place and a role to play. And we would love to connect with you, link arms, because God is raising up his sons and daughters to take their place on the earth and to reflect his glory wherever you are positioned in, whether it be in the education field, in tech field, wherever it is, across the board. He wants you to be one of his reflectors of his light. And what better way to do that than to learn what and how to do that, just being you, but also being free to be you. And so we want to invite you again. If you want to explore it, put RLA down below and we will follow up with you. Thank you so much, Despina, for sharing your story. What a
Thank you very
joy.
much.
Yes. I love that smile. I love that smile. And I can't wait to see you in person in a month or so. Bless you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, y'all.